So heading into Halloween week, I thought it was the perfect time to share with you a story of a time I showed a haunted house. Now, before I get to the story, I thought I would answer a question that we actually hear sometimes, which is, if I think my house is haunted, do I have to disclose that? And while you do have to disclose material facts that can affect the use or enjoyment of the house, you do not have to disclose if you think your house is haunted. And the simple reason is because ghosts, as real they might feel to some people, have not been proven valid in court. Therefore, no, you can't be held liable for failing to disclose if you think your house is haunted. There are other situations you might have to disclose, but that in itself is one of them that you do not. So how about that time I showed a haunted house? So this showing took place in Anoka. Of course, it had to be the Halloween capital of the world, and it was some years ago. Now, I'm not going to say what the house was, and no, it's probably not the one that you're thinking of. But I had a buyer I was working with at the time that was looking for a fixer-upper. And when this particular house in our price range came on the market, we went to go take a look at it. Now, it started like any other showing I would go through. It was daylight. I knocked, announced myself as we walked into the home, and it sounded like no one was there. So we started to look through. We found ourselves in the kitchen, and at that time I noticed that the door to the basement was somewhat open, and you could see the light on in the basement. So I kind of peeked my head inside and looked down, and it was one of those stairs that went down to like a dirt floor basement, and I wasn't really interested in needing to go down there because, well, we really weren't excited with the house and where it was situated and if it was going to even work. So I turned to walk away. At that time, I heard this sound of the door creaking quietly and latching shut. And that sound I remember, because I turned around to see what had done that. And there were a lot of cats running around, so it may very well have been, and certainly was in my mind, a cat that had knocked the door and moved it, or maybe the wind had caught it, whatever. It was no big deal. I turned to walk away. And as I turned my back, I heard that sound again. And I heard the door open back up. And I slowly turned back around to see what I was looking at. And there was nothing there. Not only was there nothing there, but I could see the light from the basement. So any shadow would have been casting up the stairs. So I walked towards it. I looked down into the basement and there was nothing there. And I called out, "Hello?" And I'm sure it caught my buyer off guard. Like, what was I doing? Who was I talking to? But I was completely unnerved at this point. So the buyer I'm with says, "Do you want to leave?" And I'm like, "Yes, I want to leave." So he heads out. And the whole time I just feel like something's behind me, which I'm sure is just my mind going crazy at this point. And we walk to the door and I turn and lock and put the key back in the lockbox. And I am a little bit unnerved. So I go back to the office and I share the story with the listing agent, who says, "Oh, yeah, well, the homeowners actually think the house is haunted. In fact, they told me it was haunted." So that was the time I'm pretty sure I showed a haunted house. And the only time. Well, at any rate, thanks for watching, and I wish you a safe and happy Halloween.